Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of ILEETA Live. We have a very special event tonight with our executive director Harvey Hedden, and we have a couple of additions here, right? Joe, Todd, myself, and Ray, and we got some exciting announcements to make for ILEETA, and we'll get those going here pretty soon. But I think everybody knows who Ed is. But Ray, tell us a little bit about you and who you are for the audience that doesn't know who you are or hasn't experienced your crazy T-shirt sales.
Crazy Ray t-shirt sales. Well, thanks everybody for having us on, having me on. Very excited. My name is Ray Merlin. I have been with ILEETA probably about 20 years. I was also with the Kenosha Sheriff's Department, where Harvey is also out of, there for a little bit over 28 years. Did most of my career working third shift patrol. And during those times, I've been a trainer, everything from defensive tactics, communication skills, hands-on, just right across the realm. I was asked to help out with ILEETA years and years ago. And as you know, you just keep coming back and just been moving through the different things as far as with ILEETA. Been married. I think I'm not sure if Jen will be on here tonight, but if you probably met my wife Jen at the conference. 2 kids, Eric and Rochelle. Eric, you've probably seen, if you've been to the conference, have seen Eric. He comes out there and helps out also. And just very excited about things going on, and just excited with everything with ILEETA. Last but not least, Marine Corps also, 86 to 90. Then, like I said, went into law enforcement. Then, like I said, here I am now. So again, thanks for having me.
Semper Fi, Devil Dog.
Uh,
Harvey, I know everybody knows you, but just give us an intro there of yourself.
Well, as Ray said, I started out with small police departments and went to the Kenosha Sheriff's Department back in the late 70s. I worked there and became a trainer after a few years because it seemed like we were lacking. Oddly enough, that's the same reason that my mentor and predecessor, Ed Nowicki, got involved in training, because he saw that what we had wasn't good. And in Ed's case, Ed had convinced a young guy in his neighborhood to join the Chicago Police Department. And then after he got on the department, convinced him to join the tactical squad. One day they walked into something they shouldn't have, and that guy got killed. Ed felt very responsible for that and decided right then and there he had to get involved in training. My experience was pretty much the same. I decided that we had to do better. And after being involved in other trainers organizations, Ed had decided that it's time to try something new. He created ILEETA after the use of force conference that he held in 2003. So our first official ILEETA conference was 2004. And Ed asked me to help him as his deputy executive director. So I did that from the beginning. And then in 2009, Ed's health started to deteriorate, as most of us could see. He was really fighting quite a fight there, and asked me to take over. I did that in 2009 and have been there ever since. So it's been about 20 years of working first with Ed, and then with other people like the people that are here, and some who are not here tonight. But none of this is all done by any individual. It's done by a team effort, by a group of people, and that also dedicate themselves to making law enforcement training better, make it safer for law enforcement, safer for the citizens, even safer for the bad guys. But making us more efficient, making us safer, that's the objective, sharing information and really creating a camaraderie amongst trainers to achieve that. So I've been very, very happy. As Ray mentioned, I started with the Sheriff's Department there, and I retired as a lieutenant. I didn't see Ray too much because I spent most of my time in drug work, the civilized type of law enforcement, where you schedule felonies to happen. If you get them wrong, you can do them over again. I found that very civilized compared to General Assignment Detective Bureau, because it occurred to me that people kill each other without any attention to your personal schedule at all, or do other bad things, and that was very uncivilized. So I got into that, and as Ray mentioned, a few years after he got in the department, he was made a trainer. And when I first met Ray, it was at the range, and it was my time to go do my firearms training. And I thought to myself after listening to Ray, I said, "Wow, my department got it right." You know, sometimes you're surprised by your own agency that how did they manage to do this? Well, I guess even a broken clock breaks twice a day. Ray and I can say that now that we're gone. But I was very impressed, and Ray has had the same type of heart towards training, that Ed had and that I had, and so when I made this promise to my wife many years ago about what would I would do with ILEETA, there was a plan that there would be an end point to this, that I would decide that at some point I would make good on some of the retirement promises I made to her and myself. And also, at some point, you don't want to wait till you're so old that you just die at the wheel either. I would like to see somebody take over that would keep that same energy and drive alive, and maybe even because of it, he's a little younger than I am. I don't know if anybody noticed, but even a little more energy. And so it's a good thing. And I do plan on staying involved in ILEETA, but I want to help nurture it from a different position, while also doing some other things and enjoy retirement. I've only been retired for about 15 years now, so looking forward to a little more travel with her and things like that. But definitely plan on staying engaged in ILEETA. So what we wanted to do tonight was allay any fears or answer any questions about where we're going. When Ed had to turn ILEETA over to me, it was difficult. He was not doing very well. But fortunately for me, I had been with Ed since the beginning, and so I knew a few things about what was going on. We wanted to make sure that this next transition, because we're trainers after all, was done in a very orderly way and with a lot of care and forethought, so that by the time we make the change, it'll be very smooth and very efficient and even better than it had been before. So that's basically it. So I'm looking forward to it. Ray has been Ray, and I should mention Joe as well is going to be deputy executive director. Brian Willis is still going to be a deputy executive director, not going anywhere. We got him locked up somewhere. But no, we've been very fortunate to have Brian Willis with us since the beginning of the organization, but as deputy executive director since 2009. He's going to stay in that role. But helping us as well is going to be Joe Willis, who is also learning some of the ropes about conference management and things like that. And we're working now to screen proposals, and we'll talk about that later too, about proposals. But we're working on that. Ray's working on some of the marketing side. Mary Grace Barbie, who is probably watching tonight while she's eating dinner, is also going to be retiring next year. That's not the reason I decided to leave. Probably a good reason to leave. But I talked to her one day and I said, I've been thinking about it. She had to, let's make a clean transition of it all. So Ray's been working with her and is with me, and so we're working the problem just like we would any other training problem. And fortunately, we have very skilled people that are coming to the fore here.
Yeah, and I can't. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that I came aboard. I'm a charter member of ILEETA, and the leadership from Ed, from you, the passion and the dedication of all the leaders and everybody that works behind the scenes of ILEETA, that makes every year so much better and so much more successful, is what keeps me coming back. And I know it's what keeps a lot of people coming back. And I'm proud to say that I'm a friend of everybody here in this room here, and you guys have made ILEETA what it is today, and it is just going to get better. So I'm happy to say that I'm proud to be an ILEETA member.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I'm 100% with you. I'm proud. I mean, everybody sitting around here, everything you hear from the conference, the different things is always that message. I got, everybody I talked to, because this decision wasn't made overnight. Same thing talking to my wife, and it's a family thing. The support. But I always, again, thanks to Harvey, I'm very humbled and honored by the chance for this to work with everybody, because it's the backbone of everything that everybody does here, the trainers for trainers, and just it's exciting the more we get involved. Mary Grace, like I said, for the ones that don't know her, does a fabulous job with the expo and the bundling packages, just a lot of stuff there. So, and she is committed to stay on and counsel us and be there for us also. So that is those parts. This is not going to be just an overnight transition now. Oh boy, what we're doing. Everybody, the reason for doing some of these little meetings and getting things out is because we're all creatures of what's going on, what's going to happen now. You name it across it, and this plan is so everybody's, like Harvey already said, kind of, hey, relax. We're working on this. It's a work in progress, and it's going to be everybody involved. Hey, how we do this transition and what we do in the future. And like I said, with Joe coming on board, and then now and Brian staying on board, the wealth of knowledge of everybody is it's very humbling and it's exciting.
Well, and that kind of leads us to how are our members going to see this transition occur between now and the conference and after the conference? What can they expect?
I think for the most part it will be seamless. I think I've never considered myself to be all that important to this operation because of people like Mary Grace, because of my daughter-in-law Marla, because they're doing the heavy lifting for the most part. They're taking care of members' needs. Mary Grace takes care of marketing needs, but Mary Grace also does membership stuff as well. And so those positions are not going to go away. Those responsibilities are not going to go away. Just fulfilled by other people who will be well trained to do it. So for the member, whether you come to the conference or whether you're just a member, you're really not going to see a difference. All the same things will still be there. And even at the conference level, to be quite honest, there's a lot of organizational stuff to put in the conference together. But once all those little things are done, it's people like yourselves and the people on the conference team, which is a long list to mention. It's about 20 people that volunteer their time, and Ray was one of those people. You guys have all done time doing that as well, but they make it work. It's almost like the pit crew gets the car ready, and we just push it off the line, and there it goes. And it's a miracle. And everybody thinks it's a grand. I've called the grand illusion that it's so well organized and everything. Yeah, that's the illusion we want to maintain, and it is because of the hard work of the people that come there and donate their tireless efforts before the conference, during the conference, and after the conference. And we want to emphasize that this isn't just about a conference thing. It's about the entire organization. And one of Ray's goal is going to be to really accelerate and accentuate the things that we do outside the conference. Some of those other benefits, other ways to communicate for members, to build on that as well. But I think for the most part, it's going to be a pretty easy transition, and none of us are really going anywhere. As Ray said, we're going to be around to help if there's a question or whatever. It should be smooth sailing.
Yeah, I agree with Harvey. I mean, you think of those people that are always behind the scenes, and they're not going anywhere. That was the commitment they made. Hey, we get transitioned in, they're there to help. So as it would be. One of the things I think the only thing you might see a little different, and this is why we're doing these panels, so people can ask questions, see our faces, not just them, doing logo sales before. Actually, I do train a little bit here and there, but you go there and have fun and do the other things. But it's also to see our names, on the marketing side, working with Mary Grace, same thing. We got a lot of the vendors that come and support us. They support us on the website, all the different things there. It wasn't all Mary Grace is gone and here's Ray and what's going on. We're having these meetings with everybody saying, hey, this is what's happening. So they're comfortable next year knowing that it's not, the bull in the china shop coming in, everything's in a chaos. They know who we are. And like I said, same thing with Joel as we get on these things, and it is like we never stop learning. We're trainers, so we're learning as we go along and just working with everybody. So as members wise, they see what's going on. They're hopefully gonna pick up the phone, send us an email, hey, what's happening, and we'll sit down with them also. So that's really, like I said, other than that, like Harvey said, I don't think a big change.
Thanks, Ray.
And you still don't have to wear heels, Ray, when you do the expo stuff in 25. You don't have to do that. It was one of the changes we made when Mary Grace came to ILEETA. I said, yeah, comfortable shoes. Footwear is the most important thing you can wear as far as your attitude and everything else. But she's listening, so I'm kind of teasing her a little because many times when she was in the old days, she would have many changes of shoes, almost again like the Indy car again, changing tires. She'd be able to change shoes, and I said, let's just get you the most comfortable shoes we can because she's moving around so much at that expo. So don't worry about learning how to walk in heels or anything like that.
Okay, good. I'm just hoping that everybody's gonna be okay that I'm still wearing just shorts. Do I have to wear pants now, or am I okay having the shorts and a t-shirt? I'm a larger mammal. I sweat. I want to be able to be comfortable.
So here is the $10,000 question for a lot of conference attendees, especially conference attendees that have been there for a number of years. Who's going to be the guy that is making sure that hospitality night is all taken care of?
Well, we have a few people that do that. Ray is one of those people. So is Jerry Longden. He's been instrumental in making sure that hospitality works. And really, moreover than that, it's the hotel. The hotel's been great about that. In the early years, we kind of did all this ourselves, and it's much. We pay for it now for the hotel, but we don't pay very much, and it's done very professionally. We appreciate it. And when you're looking at, we're constantly looking for places to hold conferences. We've never found one better than this one. That's why we're still in St. Louis. But one of the things you look at is the cost of doing business. You go to some hotels and they would say you have to use our AV company. They're going to come in and you're going to charge you this much a day for it. You want beer? Yeah, you'll buy our beer. You want donuts? We'll provide that. And we don't do any of that at this hotel. And those savings just pile up. They really pile up and mean that we can keep the conference costs down. If we had to buy the chicken dinner that you see at some conferences, and a lot of hotels require that you'll spend maybe six figures in food. If we had to do that, you can see that the price of the conference would go up remarkably, and that would price some people out. And I saw those checks coming in for a long time, and not all of them were from agencies. A lot of them were from individuals who paid their own way. Some of whom I'm talking to right here. Paid their own way to come to a conference. And so one of our goals was, how can we keep the cost of this thing down? How can we make sure that it's affordable, and not just for the conference attendees, but for the expo as well. One of the things that Mary Grace would hear from people that didn't know about ILEETA, they say, "Well, gee, that's not much for a table. How good could the conference be?" And our goal was to make this so that the Todd Fletcher mom and pop handcuff company could come to ILEETA and afford to be there. And so it wouldn't just be Taser and Glock and those kind of things, but people could afford to be there. And those that came found out that this was a great audience to come meet, because these are the people that often make the decisions in their agencies. They also found out they had to send people there that knew something. Don't send the model or whatever, the girl who looks just looks good. She better know her stuff. Whoever it is better know their stuff. And oftentimes that's what you see at the expo. You'll see that the trainers for that company, which is a deal marriage, is product and training, are the ones at the booth as well. And they can explain their product, explain the training and the support and everything else. So those are all some of the little background things that we intend to continue. And that's why it's great that Ray is talking with some of these vendors that have, some of which have been loyal ILEETA customers now for a long time. And we'll be talking to the instructors, and now we're talking to the people that are ILEETA members, whether they come to the conference or not. With the idea is making sure that everybody feels this is okay, that there's a comfort level here.
And I think
here's another little indication on that. So as we're looking at hospitality night specifically, Ray, you may have been about to mention this as well, but Ray was just down in St. Louis. You guys both participated in the Virtual Academy podcast last year, and that was a tremendous podcast. And where they were sitting during the Milo event, which that Milo event, for those that were there, I'm sure you'll agree with me, that was a phenomenal event. The food was incredible. They had the right number of tables. It was just a really well-run event, probably one of the best I've ever seen. The only challenge with it was that podcast, where it was, the sound, we couldn't really hear down at the tables and that kind of stuff. So, Ray was just down there kind of reconning the area, trying to figure out how to work with the staff. And they've been phenomenal at the hotel as far as trying to help us figure out how to make that a little bit better this year. So, I mean, there's just one example. There's been several that he's been involved in as far as the conversations about hospitality night. So yeah, they are in good hands.
I know we, Harvey, we all appreciate the keeping the costs down to a minimum. I think it, especially now, it's hitting pocketbooks pretty hard. So thank you for doing everything possible. Before we get to this question for Ray, Joe, we haven't heard much from you yet. So what is your role in ILEETA now? Um, what
Yeah,
are you going
so
to be doing?
I guess the short version on that is a lot of the operational stuff. I've been shadowing Harvey on how he manages the blasts, trying to learn that piece of it. There's a lot that goes into the conference as far as he mentioned. You get that ramp up and then you push the car over the line. We've had several conversations about that as far as how the ramp up goes, getting the schedule right, and that kind of stuff, and then just putting trust in the right people. And you've all seen it. You mentioned the phenomenal work. Like Harvey said, he's not that important to the conference. The work he does leading up to it, and the connection and the empowerment is really the big part of it. And that's really where I've been trying to keep my finger on the pulse as I'm kind of this understudy role right now. In that, and then other than that, just supporting Brian and Ray, and really supporting the membership, right, serving them, and serving the board, the advisory board, which is just a phenomenal group of people. So going in, that's where I'm at right now.
Well, thanks, Joe. We all look forward to working with you. And I spent 3 days with Brian Willis last week in one of his classes, and had a phenomenal time. And he um, says hi to everybody. But Ray, question for you from a Facebook listener, I believe.
Yeah.
What are your short-term goals for ILEETA and the long-term goals?
So great question, and we're working on some of those right now. I'm not going to share everything on those, but one of the third things, short term, long term, it's always going to be about the membership. How can we serve the membership? Now, with that being said, one of the things that we've always talked about is the conference, the success, the bonding, all that. We want to now really build on that with the membership year round with the website. Doing some things along those lines, making it more, friendly on those portions of when people have questions. And we all know we all belong to other organizations. We all do other things, and we see different things on their website of what they do, and we want to kind of help implement some of those things. And that's for the short term and the long term. Now, also, Harvey's been working on, and we're all working on this too, some more of the membership benefits. Hey, when somebody joins, what's in it from not just a conference? So we are working on the insurance portion of it, checking a couple of different things that members are going to be able to have when they are members, and that networking. So those are, like I said, and then the long term is going to be just consistently being able to do that. And even with the short term and long term, as we've talked to the conference committee now, we're going to be, we're talking with the advisory committee, getting input in. We really want to get the ideas. What does the membership want to see? Hey, where do they want to see us in that 1 year, 3 year, 5 year? How can they help us do this? Because again, it's not just about a couple of us here. The ideas there, and come on board and help us do these things. And those ideas we'll take and say, absolutely. So that's kind of a real fast version of it. You can see now with Joel coming on board, and I can't thank him enough as the deputy director. There's a lot to be done. So with 2 deputy directors and divide and conquer, we're going to have people taking overseeing parts of the advisory board, helping build that, helping with our networking, and have those contacts that people have, but just have a few more people helping with it. And then, like I said, myself with helping Mary Grace, we're really just all taking little pieces. So, the kind of short term and long term are into that. Short term, like again, is just learning right now, taking it in, and then going from there. So I hope that helps answer that question.
One of the things that we came up with, that Ray helped come up with just recently, was adding more corrections training to the conference and to the and things for the membership. So corrections are certainly part of law enforcement training. It's in some ways a little different, in other ways, of course, very much similar to what we do. But that was one of the reasons to add Ron Scheit to the advisory board. We had some members that have become emeritus members of the advisory board. So looking to replace some of them, we added Ron Scheit to bring some of that exposure of corrections. So if you are a trainer in that area, we are definitely looking for proposals in the area of corrections for the conference and looking for training resources in the area of corrections. So please forward that on to us. We'll share that with the members, or we'll provide a class at the conference. Whatever we can do. So those are some of the ideas that I'm seeing coming from this new blood. Is ways to help broaden our knowledge base. That's always been our goal. We are a strong organization because of the breadth of knowledge and the many years of experience that we have. So how can we get together and share those things and better serve the community?
Yeah, and absolutely, and that's where Harvey and Joel working on the different proposals and everything coming in, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, Harvey, because we know how it is. Whether it's probation, parole, corrections, you're in the classroom, you're on the road. There's certain things that all intertwine they can go and get a class at ILEETA and say, yeah, I can take that part, this part back, that part back. So I'll bring those corrections in and say, hey, well, we can teach some of this thing here that will help the law enforcement officer on the road or that probation parole. So helping to broaden our horizon, broaden our network of saying, what a great idea that was. Let's take that and use that here. Because it's about taking that back and being able to use it. And again, I think everybody, I don't know of any state, any country, that all these paths don't intertwine somehow. Laws, this, that, and everything else, and to bring that to the forefront of somebody might have not thought the way is just a great thing where we want to try to expand.
Speaking of proposals, go ahead, Todd.
Well, no, go ahead. I see you got the banner going, so hit it.
Oh, I just wanted to say our members have almost a month to get the proposals in. I had a question texted me earlier today. Have any proposals been approved yet? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't normally do that till after the 31st. What typically happens is we have more proposals than we have time at the conference, and so there are going to be some that have to be cut. What we're trying to do earlier now is if there's an issue with one of them or something we don't understand, we're contacting instructors and saying, what did you mean by this? Or, hey, you left this part out. Or the biggest problem is you submitted your curriculum vitae for a bio that was supposed to be 500 characters with spaces. We're instructors, so naturally we don't read instructions. We are just averse to any kind of written instructions because of the nature of who we are. So every once in a while, those sneak in, and we have to send those back to people and say, yeah, we can't put this many characters in a program book because it'll be this thing. We got to make it reasonable. But no, we have not done that yet. But we will get on as soon. Our goal is to get on that the very first part of November, figure out what we're going to have, so we can give a course list to the membership, so that they can then go to their bosses and say, "Here's what's going to be there. Can I go?" And we'll also be publishing or posting again, like we do every year, a sample letter of what to send to your boss to say that here's why I should send to ILEETA. Here's the things I will get from there. And then Brian Willis always makes a great point out of this after the conference to make sure you thank that person that's allowed you to go to the conference and tell them, here's what I got out of it. Here's my action goals, what action steps, things I plan on doing with that information. Because if you do that, it's very likely you won't even have to ask the next year, or he may send other people with you. Just one other thing, we will open up scholarships on December 1. We'll open those up on December 1. So people have been asking about that. And also, that's about the same time we'll open up nominations for Trainer of the Year for 2024.
Which actually brings up a kind of my lead into my question. When you talk about scholarships, when you talk about new members, the health and future of any organization is in recruitment of new members, new instructors, new ideas, new classes, those kinds of things. And kind of this is a question for both Harvey and Ray. Where are we going as an organization to make sure that we are recruiting in those new members and helping them to gain the confidence maybe to present at the conference, write articles for the journal, apply for those scholarships? What is it that we as members can do, we as advisory board members can do to ensure the long-term health of this organization that we all love?
One of the things that members can do is especially if they're doing training, as they identify people that would be good candidates for ILEETA membership, is they recommend it to them, they explain to them. And some of those instructors, oddly enough, they actually pay people's memberships. You guys know somebody like that? Yeah, right up here. every month or every few weeks, I think it is. I get we get our office gets a application, and Todd does that as part of his training. Um, we've been very fortunate. The digital advertising is apparently the thing that's really brought a lot of new blood in there. When we talk to people about how they learned about ILEETA, it's the digital advertising to things like Police One and Police Magazine and those groups that we traded for, all these different periodicals and online periodicals. Really, we trade information to. I let people put a posting out about our conference, so all that helps get the word out there. It still surprises me that somehow or another, every once in a while, somebody says, "I just discovered you." This year, the big discovery has been amongst professional speakers. I think we've gotten at least a dozen requests from professional speakers to come speak at the conference as a keynote speaker. We don't do keynotes. Brian Willis and I are the closest thing you get to a keynote. And really, what we're doing is getting people revved up and getting them out there as soon as possible, because that's what they want to do. They want to get to those classes, and so we minimize that time. It's about announcements and updates and whatever else, and hoorah rah, let's get the spirit going and let's get you out there. So for some reason this year, we must have gotten on a list someplace, because we've done a dozen letters back or emails back to people saying, no, we don't do this. We'd invite you to come, look at the ILEETA and be a member of ILEETA if you're doing law enforcement training. But no, we aren't going to, even if it's only 5,000 or 15,000 for a speaker, no, we're not going to do that, because again, that would bring those costs of the conference up. And to tell you the truth, we got people who are professional speakers, who are professional instructors, moreover, and who do every bit as good a job as those things that you see, in some of the bigger buck conferences you might go to. So, Ray, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say one of the things really build on, and this is where we learn from each other. Virtual Academy, watching that, Brian, I watched you when you did your presentation. You talked on Virtual Academy, and you said it best. You were sitting there with John Bostain. Why should I present or whatever else? Hey, why shouldn't you? Okay, Harvey, you're up in the hospitality. You had those new first year attendees come there. Hey, I'm thinking about a proposal. Absolutely, you should. This is why, getting those young, it's that networking. As much as, hey, we have these hospitalities, and we're looking at somebody else coming on board for another hospitality one night, and it's about that networking, going there and talking with these people and saying, this is why you should put in a proposal. Right? And again, nothing special here. We put in our dues. We've been humbled to be asked to come back. We've been this. And this is how we meant our next thing. So I think those are some of the biggest things, whether we're at the ILEETA conference, whether you're at your training, whatever it might be, you're talking about it and just thinking your thing. I say, hey, go be part of another organization, but give back to the training. And ILEETA will do that. So I think those are the big ways of watching what's going on and just talking about it. And the first time they get there, hey, and then like I said, Harvey, the way he does the things with getting some new people there with the scholarship. When we think about different things of keeping the cost down, the money's put in there to bring people to the conference. So those are the things that just kind of think about when you're talking to that new guy. Why do you want a proposal? One of the things we're also hitting in on is when we're talking now with these vendors coming in, and they might be new, but they also are thinking about they're doing a class. But then ask them right away, hey, by the way, why are you doing that thing about doing that proposal for a class? How about an article? Let's let people know who you are, give that a little bit back in our journal, and then boom. So it all can run together. Well, what do you make think I can do an article? Everybody can do one. It's just simple for me. Hey, I'm dyslexic. I got to have about 12 people read it to make sure it makes sense. But we can all do that part in it. And that's the whole thing. I'll use that my example. Not the best writer in the world, but there's enough people around here that will help you. And that's going to be the first time they do that, then they're the next generation to help the next generation. So that's how that's my little two pieces on that. Joe, you got anything on it, man? You're one of my mentors.
There's kind of a
you hit all the nails on the head. There's so much going into that that we've also talked about how to make better connections with all of the state trainer agencies. There's some great ones out there. I mean, there's so many things that we've already looked into that we're already trying, but I think you hit the nail on the head that it is really about the membership getting out there and doing. Here's another example: international travelers, right? You've got Z and so many others that are doing the international thing. We've talked about, how do we take this message across the ponds, and we've had a couple of preliminary conversations, but this is something for the larger membership and the board to really get in on. Is actually, Todd, you were just in Portugal, which is, by the way, why I didn't text you that one of the memberships I'm sponsoring is a guy named Lily. He said to say hi, out of Bend.
Tommy, I love that guy.
Yeah. It really does boil down to carrying the message forward wherever we are. And when I was in Japan just recently, I was using Google Translate to try to explain, what the organization was. I think the right answer is we lean forward ahead of time, and when you go, have some translated stuff ready to go with you, that you can share. And we do some things to arrange opportunities to intentionally engage. And so, to all the members out there, if you're going to pick a country, carry the message with you, and just be ready to talk ILEETA when you get there.
Kind of to add a little bit, networking, I like to refer to networking as relationship building and maintaining those relationships, because here's what happens, and it's happened to me over and over again over the past several years, is an ILEETA trainer comes to Denver and calls me up, or they go to anywhere USA where maybe Todd's at, or they say, hey, would you like to come attend my class for free? You have like $1,000 class, and this ILEETA member, because you've built this relationship, is asking you to come sit in their expensive class, high value class, and no other organization really does something like that. It's phenomenal. So the pay it forward is phenomenal. This is a great organization to join because of not just that, but just the friendships that you build. Todd, you just had a recent ILEETA member come and stay at your house, right?
Yeah. So JT Kurtz from Cleveland, he attended a lot of the ILEETA conferences when we were in the Chicago area, and he and I built a friendship. And he was just down here with his wife Chris on Sunday and Monday and stayed with us, and then went down to San Antonio to visit some family. And that's kind of unique for an organization. I think that that's the type of connections that ILEETA could build. And if we can start to build some of those connections on an international basis, I think where we are now is just the beginning of where ILEETA can be. And honestly, I think that we're moving in the right direction. And Ray, I think you and Joe and with under Harvey's leadership has gotten us pointed in the right direction.
Thank you.
I love this question that was submitted. What is the best ways for members to contribute to the conference aside from teaching a class? What could they do to help out?
Well, there's always little things to be done, but so if you come to the command post at the conference, we can always find something for you to do. We do have quite a team that comes every year. In fact, this past conference, pretty much anybody that ever helped us came, and it's kind of funny how we accumulate these people. They sometimes just kind of showed up, or they've been to a conference before, and so there's a core team of people who've been to the conference now for many years. People like are represented here as well that know what they're doing, and so it becomes easier because they already know what niche they're going to fill, what roles they're going to fill. We still have a task matrix and all this other complicated stuff, but these folks know what's got to be done and how to get there. One of the things we usually need help for is at the expo. We're either trying to move things around or locate somebody, or we're trying to maintain security of the expo so that we don't have a cab driver try to get in like one year. Cab driver wanted to see about what law enforcement was about. So those things are helpful to help us with security at the expo, to help the people up at the registration desk. Stop up there. Hey, can we want to get you a bottle of water from someplace? Assuming they'd be out, we would hope they wouldn't. But any of those little things are really helpful. But right now, as far as the core group, I'm in really good shape. But those little things are always appreciated. Helping somebody find their way to a class, helping somebody get to the range. We used to rent a 15-passenger van to run people to the range. It's become pretty much useless because since we kind of coordinated that through the live fire registration, members are driving member to the range. And hey, what a great way to meet somebody, right? This is a ride to the range. What a great way to make that new relationship that you're all talking about. So at best, we're taking 2 or 3 to the range at a time. That's a beautiful thing. Members have helped make that happen, and that helps keep the cost down. Because 15 passenger vans are expensive by the week.
Yeah, I would say that Harvey, one of the things is, as like, again, you're always looking for that next generation of people to help out with stuff. Send an email, let us know, because some of it's going to be, hey, are you coming in on Tuesday? Are you leaving on Thursday? So if there's stuff that maybe somebody wants to help with, they can. One of the things because this has been your first time to the conference, you know how trying to find different places at the hotel can be overwhelming. You have the apps, you have this. So we're looking at this year possibly setting up, especially while the expo's going on, an informational ILEETA informational booth. So somebody can, hey, be there, ask how to put the app on your phone. How can I get to a certain thing? Or when the conference is going on, having people strategically placed of, you're looking at your map, how can I help you? Yeah, that's across over there. You're going to get your steps in. So if there's somebody that might want to help with that the first year, and kind of wing yourself in. One of the things is, again, we want definitely memberships to help out, but we don't want it to take away from you going to classes either. So that's that one nice little balance of you help out for an hour here and get to your class, and then that way as things go on there, and you got feel more comfortable with something else, then absolutely. So again, just kind of think about that. Send an email, and we'll see what we can do on when you're going to begin. All right, thank you.
Taking a conference security, the expo security post, that would be awesome. So we don't have to double and triple up on everybody. That'd be fantastic.
We actually had a group, back when we first came back after COVID, because took a year off there because of COVID. We came back and we were a little concerned about security. We had a group of people that volunteered to be a first responder group within our membership to go and take care of problems. And we were very fortunate that we're very close to St. Louis Police Department across the street, and we didn't have really anything at all. We had one BLM person show up at our command post one day, and I took care of that myself because where we came from, one deputy, one right. No, she was looking for the aquarium. So she and I walked to the aquarium, and but that was an example. We had like a dozen people that signed up to do that, and that was fantastic. That was fantastic that they volunteered their time. One of the things we are looking for is people with EMT experience. We have some of that now. Based on the proposals we'll have plenty. But if you do have that, that's something else. We're looking to identify people with EMT experience who, should we have an issue, we can text them and ask them to go there and take care of problems until rescue can get there. So that would be one important area. There's a question here about Mary Grace, and I guess we did cover that earlier. Maybe I missed that, but Mary Grace is retiring as well, and it's going to be a different division of labor. But Ray has been kind of working with Mary Grace. Joe's working with me. But the benefit that these guys will have is they'll probably be able to spot each other even better than we were able to. Fortunately, I never had to try to do what Mary Grace does, but these guys will have some ability to cover each other in that regard. But Ray is shadowing Mary Grace now, so yeah, there'll be continuity there because the vendors are an important part of the training, an important part of the support of the conference. We want to maintain that relationship as well.
Yeah, I see the next question there is for me. This may be a little bit of an anticlimactic answer for you, but nothing significant, right? I think one of the things about ILEETA has been that it is the communal organization. We support one another. The board is not some lofty, unattainable group that doesn't mix. In fact, actually, I think somebody made a comment about that, that everybody just kind of gels together. I guess my biggest goal for the next couple of years is any role I take is that maintains that it is no major changes, that the organization is as much a gel as it's ever been. If I did look for anything, it would be a little bit of a diversity in presentations, but Harvey already addressed that. That's not going to, and it's been addressed by many of the members up to this point, but I'd like to see us leaning into that space a little bit more. I'd like to see, I can tell you a little bit. I don't want to give away any of Ray's hard work, and I think he's got something in his pocket as far as one of the hospitality nights he's working. But we have some events that are phenomenal, and we're looking at potentially bringing in one that's not even going to be a change in the next couple of years. It's something that he's looking at this year. So I guess the biggest thing for me is I love this organization with all of my heart and the members of it, and I want it to be that sort of communal thing that it's always been, where we connect with one another, recharge the batteries. So no major changes in the next 1 to 2 years that I can see.
So Joe, that Miss ILEETA contest you were going to have, that's off now, right?
Yeah.
That is a joke, okay? I want to make sure that that is a joke. Okay.
Let's clear that up.
This came up years ago. I made some mention to Ed about a Miss ILEETA conference, and by the end of the conference, I heard it. So that's next year we're doing that? Oh my gosh, no.
So we
are going to make it mandatory for everybody's got to grow beards, though.
Oh yeah, well I'm sorry, I forgot to put that part out. Yes, beards are now mandatory. Todd, you're off to a great start. Keep it going.
And Carrie Avery has to come with like a purple or green one.
But hey guys, we've been talking about what are we going to be doing going forward and new changes and stuff. I want to change gears here and ask the same question to both Harvey and Ray. What are some of your most memorable moments over the years from the ILEETA conferences, all the way back to Chicago?
Well, it's been a great ride, and I got to say I've fulfilled what I hope, everything I hope to do, and most of all, I wanted to make sure that I made Ed proud. And he started all this. He's not with us anymore, but it was a great idea. And you guys know that some of the earlier trainers organizations didn't survive, and Ed decided we had to try something different, and make it less about bureaucracy, make it more about the members, and that's what we've tried to achieve: minimal bureaucracy. In fact, it's funny that people will sometimes call and say, "I talked to that." They'll call Marla and say, "I talked to the other person in the office there." Well, I'm sorry, there isn't anybody else. We've tried to keep everything minimal bureaucracy, maximum output, and these guys are going to continue to do that same thing. And Ray's going to be assisted too by Jenny Merlin, who most of you have probably met at registration. And we'll try to get her face in here one of these times. But Jenny's very adept and going to be taking over that office management stuff. So that'll be great. And you have to have somebody like that that can help serve the members and keep track of memberships and all those great things. So, but as far as memories, there's just so many. I think I was sitting at one of the Emerson hours one year, and one of our members got up and talked about how important the conference was to him really the year before. And I think you know what I'm talking about. But he said that his exposure at the conference had changed his life. And I'm sitting there amongst other ILEETA members, and I'm getting choked up. I can't do that. I can't be getting. And he's now part of our conference staff, and he just showed up the next year and said, "Because this helped me, I want to help others." And that's just the beauty of this kind of thing. But all of you have helped. All of you, and many of you that are out in the audience there have helped. And I can't begin to express my gratitude for being part of all this. It's been great to do this. I look forward to running this ship up up until next June, and after all the conference bills are paid, that'll be great. I want to thank all of you, but I will especially want to thank Marla Hedden, my daughter-in-law. And just to be clear about that too, that's a funny thing too. A couple years ago, well, I've had two different daughter-in-laws work for ILEETA. One of them was even younger, and one of the guys came up to the conference and had met her at the registration booth and said, "Yeah, I met your wife." And I said, "Oh yeah," and he's thinking my wife is this 20-something-year-old girl, and he says, "Well, where'd you meet her?" I said, "In high school." I said, "You sick son of a." Oh, I did meet my wife in my wife who's 1 year younger than I am, not her. There can be other Mrs. Heddens, okay? So that was pretty funny as well. But I want to thank Marla and I want to thank Mary Grace as well. These people have been so hardworking, such hardworking members of this organization, and helping push things forward, and will continue to help through the next year. So.
Yeah, I agree with everything Harry says. A couple different, I would say, those moments for me, well, obviously, being asked to come back and helping you. I mean, you can't take the people you met. Those are they're embedded in us. That's why we're back here. One of the funniest ones was with Ed. If you were around during the Ed days, there was plenty of shirts, and we had plenty of shirts year after year after year. And one of the things that's always been with Harvey is, well, we did a lot of extra ones. Hey, we're selling them. That's where the Crazy Race sales came from. I'll answer that crazy question later. But it was like, hey, Harvey, can I use some of these for Special Olympic events? Hey, give them the athletes. They love them, this and that. But the only one they didn't like, and what color did Ed call it? I call it
salmon.
pink. Oh, salmon. He called it salmon. It was the ugliest pink shirt, and it was for one of the cup things challenges, and we couldn't get rid of those. And even the athletes are like, "What are these?" But it was the funniest thing. He called salmon. It was a pink shirt. But the fun times of all the stuff we were selling, the things bringing there, people excited about taking some back, and then probably the one of the happiest, most, I mean, just heartwarming to me is just how Harvey's embraced my family. Now Jen worked with Harvey in the drug unit, so we knew her. But our son Eric, if you see him around there in his wheelchair and all that, the first year we were at Union Station, Eric with us there, he's in his push wheelchair. And I mean, he was getting to work out just a little bit, big that place is. By the afternoon, there was a scooter there for him to use. And he comes back every year and helps. And just how he's embraced our whole family, and I can't say enough. It's always been a thank you. And everybody there, that's one, he loves coming there, seeing everybody. He helps a little bit with things, but it's just that's probably my biggest memory of that, working with everybody, but just how everybody just embraces us. And
it's the kind of organization you want to be. It's what we all want for this organization.
So if I can, Brian, I just want to answer that one question. They asked, hey, who's taking over Crazy Ray Sale? Luckily, we found another Ray that's going to take it over, Ray Cordell. He's already been doing it. Him and Ron. If you've been up there trying to, buying stuff and taking care of that stuff, those guys have been there helping inventory it. We did a pretty good inventory this year until Harvey went in there with the Ukrainians and took everything and gave them a bunch of stuff. So now we have to recount.
I feel really bad about that. Yeah, they had everything counted up. They knew exactly what we had. And these Ukrainian guys are going back, a little different environment than most of us were going home to. I wanted to make sure they had plenty to wear. So whatever they could carry out of there, they carried out, because we were really blessed to have them there. And they did Lieutenant did a great job.
Yeah, they did. So we're working. So those guys will be helping. I'll be helping this year, and hopefully everybody will see. We're going to work on a couple more sale items that you're going to see out there. You can take back and buy. We don't want to go crazy with it, because you don't want that inventory just sitting around. But we do want to have doing some there, and we're going to work with a local vendor that might be just come on site and sell for that week if people want to buy stuff. So we're working on a couple things. So if people want to take stuff back, we want to be able to do that right off the bat. So those guys are going to do a great job with it. But again, we're going to put some stuff out there later on and see what would people like to see. What would you like to take back to your department and be able to have for those thank yous? And again, everything we're doing is not to make a ton of money. It's to be able to say they're proud to be a part of ILEETA, and we want you to have it. So that's just spiel on that one there, Brian.
All right, sounds good. Well, we got a little bit, I don't know, 5-10 minutes left. Todd, what final questions, thoughts, comments do you have?
Oh, I've got a really good final question. Ray, are you going to bring back the most disgusting ILEETA event of all time? The donut eating contest. Is it coming back?
Maybe we'll, I can't, again, we're going to have to get people together and decide on that, but maybe that'll be our 25th anniversary big push, the donut eating contest.
Oh yeah, there you go. Oh,
So I'm not opposed.
man.
Again,
So for
I
those
like
of you
donuts.
that haven't witnessed that,
What?
for those of you who haven't witnessed that, that is the single most disgusting thing that I have ever seen. It was horrible.
You know, we had a
It's
medical
hilarious,
emergency.
but it was
We had
horrible.
a medical emergency the one year, Todd.
Yeah.
The second place winner of the donut contest was down at the front desk like the next day and saying he needed to go to the hospital. And fortunately, I happened to be there. And I said, what's the matter? He says, well, I was upstairs using the bathroom and something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong. And I said, weren't you in the donut eating contest last night? Didn't you eat 15 of those donuts with the dark blue icing on them? And he said, oh no. But we don't want anybody to worry that way either,
Oh, so
Y'all can fill in the blanks.
But a lot of our members have never experienced the horror that is the donut eating contest.
It is, yeah. And we didn't, we were starting, the participation was starting to wane a little bit. So we kind of eventually got backed out of it. The idea that Ed had with that is a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, and it was raising money. It was about raising money and well. So some of these things we try out for a while. You remember years ago we did a spouses program, and the first year we had pretty good participation. The second year we had more instructors than we had spouses. So you try these things out. Sometimes you bring them back. So if you have an idea for the conference, we definitely like to do it. As Ed always said, if it's good for the members and we can afford to do it, we'd like to try. But we'll ask you to help us run it.
Yeah. I said, Brian, I'm not opposed. Well, we could try this year. Let's have almost like a flash dance they do it. Let's do an impromptu donut contest. We got the box there, get 5 people, see who can eat the most right there. If we get enough interest,
Plenty of donuts after.
It should be a test run, see how it works. If it works, then maybe we bring it back. I don't know. But just right out there outside of Regency A and right there in that common area, we'll just do an impromptu one.
Maybe a short thing, a 30-second, that make it shorter or something like that.
And we'll do
one of these days we have to tell the real Brian Hill story too. I don't know if we've done. Did we do that at one of the other ones we did?
that. In order to tell that, there has to be an adult tasty beverage, and I don't have one of those left.
Okay, we'll save that. We'll save that one, Brian, because that also was pretty funny.
I will never ever forget that.
Oh my goodness!
My very first time teaching. Yeah.
All right, leave them in suspense. Leave them in suspense, Brian. That'll be a future ILEETA Live.
That's the teaser for a future ILEETA Live. Joe, what questions, comments do you have?
Yeah, so I guess the biggest one would be, Harvey, you kind of alluded to it, but what is next? Tell us about the plans. What do what's next?
Well, one of the things that my wife and I hope to do is a little bit more travel. And, while I'm traveling, I'd like to work on the international aspects of ILEETA too. Even after I'm not executive director anymore, I'd still like to do that. I'm going to be an ambassador, sort of. But, you and I have talked to some people about that, and I think there's opportunities there. There's training I'd like to get back into. Last year was the first time, this last conference was the first time in many, many years that I actually taught at the conference. And that felt good to do. And so there's things I'd like to do in a small way, in a very small way, to get back into training and give back. And so I'll do some of that, but mostly I just want to see this thing just keep on going and still be around, but let some folks with more energy and drive than I have. I did manage. In the time that I've been retired and been with ILEETA, I managed to get a little older. So I'm starting to feel some of that now.
Well, the energy and drive has been there for a lot of years, and thank you. So it's not going anywhere, but I'm glad we can help you and Barb do some traveling. And I wish we had more time. You could tell them about the plane tickets you bought.
So I was actually about to make a joke about that. So what's next? Does it involve?
We just finished it. We just finished our last trip. Yeah, we finished our last trip for a while. The all-you-could-fly this summer thing. We went to 4 national parks in 5 days out west there.
Yeah, all you can is not necessarily a good thing every time. You were. I mean, I'm sure it was incredible, but it sounded exhausting.
Yeah, the thing you got to remember when you're visiting those parks is you're 8,000 feet up. You know, it's going to be a little harder on your brain when you're used to 500 feet of altitude.
Yeah. Well, thank you for everything over the years, Harvey. The way you've taken care of us. I know, I speak for everybody on this panel, and it's kind of already been said, and so many of the members. Your passion and drive. Ray mentioned the way you've taken care of Eric, but I'm thinking the hospitality suites and your willingness to just kind of hang out with us in a corner, and it never felt like I was taking you away from anyone, and I never got the impression anyone else did. You always made time for all of us, and a sincere, genuine thank you for being that.
Been a privilege
for so many of us.
And thank all of you for your dedication as well, because it doesn't work with just one person doing it. It's only because of the team.
Amen.
Amen. And Harvey, I just want to say thanks for continuing on with Ed's legacy, making this a peer organization where nobody is better than anybody else. We're all equals, and that's what makes this organization what it is. And it is an awesome organization, and you have done an amazing job of building some of the world's best law enforcement instructors and trainers. And that's a huge feather in your hat, and it's some big shoes to fill. But I know the next person coming aboard will fill those shoes with no problem. Um, I'm gonna mention a couple of dates, and then I'm gonna turn it back over before we close out. I'm gonna give Harvey and Ray the final word, but I just want to give everybody a few dates here. December 10th is the deadline for the next ILEETA journal. The current one should be coming out any day now, and more importantly, the instructor proposals for next year, ILEETA 2024. You have about a month left. October 31st is the deadline to get those in. If you're on the fence, if you have questions, if you need help, if you are a first time, never taught before at the conference, give one of us a call, give another member a call, give us an email. We will help. We will help you. We would love to see some new instructors teaching. And
Info at ILEETA.org. For any questions you have. If you want to ask about a proposal, Harvey H at ILEETA.org, and I'll be glad to help you.
And finally, 172 days left until the conference. We're all excited. We are counting down. We count down as soon as before we get on that flight home from St. Louis, we're counting down to next year. That's how fun and meaningful and how much value packed this conference is. So if you've never been to an ILEETA conference, make 2024 your conference to be there. With that, I'm done. Ray, final words, closing thoughts.
Yeah, the closing thought will just be every member, every volunteer, anybody that's come across ILEETA that stopped to say hi, just the board, just everybody involved. Thank you. It doesn't happen without all of us doing it together. And just thanks for everybody that puts that effort in, that time in, that wants to do it. And again, the new members ask and become part of that and be that next generation. But just thank you again. I'm excited and happy to be part of this. That's the biggie. So that's it.
Thank you. And our deputy, Joe, final closing thoughts, comments?
No, I think Harvey and Ray said it best. There's so much that's been said already. Just a phenomenal organization. Super proud to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Harvey, final thoughts for everybody.
What this is all about is you out there, the trainers, the instructors, the law enforcement educators. That's what all this is about. It really is not about the people in the administration of ILEETA or anything else. It's always been about you, because what you do is important. And I know you don't always get to see what happens. You don't get to see the ripples on the pond, but you're having an influence on those you train and on those people that those officers come into contact with. It's terribly important what you're doing. Don't ever undervalue it. Don't ever say, well, it's just my stuff. It's all important. And thank you for the honor of continuing on this mission. And it's been a great ride. I feel like I've fulfilled the beginning of this ride. And Ray and Joe and Jenny will take it on from here after next June. I'll still be around. Please, if I can do anything to help anybody, do email me, harveyh@ileeta.org. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Harvey. Thank you all for watching and listening and participating. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us and be part of ILEETA. On behalf of Joe, Todd, Ray, and Harvey, thank you all. Have a great night.